Hello guys. My PC is screwing with me right now. It's changed my language settings. So it's giving me the wrong things. Hello Nate.
Select your god.
I will be boring my first game, and I also need to fix this stuff because I can't write in symbols right now. Why did this swap? I don't understand. No, Windows, I don't want you to restart. Shit. Why? Are you kidding me, man? Why are you doing this to me? All of a sudden. It's wrong. It is wrong. Why would you do this? That's such an annoying time. I should have realized this before I started streaming. Because I don't actually know how to fix it. Oh well. I can't tweet out that I'm streaming. That's the problem with this. Like usually, like there's only a few people that really like follow me on Twitter at this point. I assume most people just, you know, they just look at Twitch anyway. But like, what is this? It's a lot of shit to beat, but I think I'm still gonna go Aegis here. Or Epic. Okay. Cold. As usual. I'm gonna sit back here. I still want to see if I can actually just fix this a little bit. So I apologize for this. I don't know why it reset in the first place. Like, it worked. What's your problem? What is the issue?
Have spawned.
Looks like Nim is starting here. Alright, I'll try and fix it after this game. So I won't have to focus on it right now. Because it doesn't affect my gameplay, as far as I know. It just affects my writing. I can't use symbols. Like shift symbols.
my way.
You're one of a kind.
The waters fill the excitement.
I saw a jungler. Then I'm chilling. Cause Herc, Achilles is gonna fuck me up real fast in Hades.
First blood.
That's unfortunate. I wish I could TP.
No, no, no.
Aw, peaches.
You have slain an enemy. To be immortal.
You're one of a kind. Aw, peaches.
Alright, I'll just back. Oh, I didn't even realize Vexel is in the game too. I actually didn't even look at who I'm against. Why do I feel like they're so much more stacked than my team?
Enemy missing middle.
Maybe we're not. I actually don't know. I recognize some of the names on my team too.
Your middle tower is under attack.
But who knows? Everyone changes names these days with Steam, so could be anyone.
Enemy
Take
missing.
this jungle buff.
You have slain an enemy. Protected my heel. Your left tower is under attack.
I was hoping he was gonna take the bait. Thinking I was gonna do goal camp.
Gank.
Did not expect Herc there
Out
though.
of mana.
been
Next
slain.
time, it will go better.
An ally has been slain.
I want to really try and rotate a bit more. See if I can help out.
Killing spree. Your left tower is under attack.
Enemy ultimate down.
Get up to this.
I don't know why I blinked. Dude. I panicked. I wanted to get that kill. I fucking missed everything. Then he stood still too. Because he got new ult. Let's just pretend we didn't see that, alright?
Your right tower is under attack.
On my way.
Just a little whoopsie.
Enemy spotted.
I think I lost one wave for it, but I should make it to this one.
Your right
Mostly.
tower is under attack.
Enemy missing right.
An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain.
Enemy missing right.
Defend Lord Fury.
Ultimate is down.
Your left tower is under
Enemy
attack.
missing.
Killing spree. I was supposed to be immortal.
Huh. I should have looked at his build. I don't know why he went Golden
I'll
Blade.
attack that lane.
That's not really a great Achilles item, I would say. If you want to do damage, you just do like Jotuns. Or specifically into Hades, probably Brawlers. I would have much harder time if you could just stun me when I go for the wave with the Brawler's passive. I wouldn't really be able to stop him from doing it either. Still though, I still think I have the upper hand in the matchup, but...
An enemy has been slain. You have slain an enemy.
Enemy missing right.
Your
Damn
right
it.
tower
I keep
is under
accidentally
attack.
auto-attacking today. It's done like 3 times. My hands are too cold, I'm shaking.
Ultimate is down.
Ultimate is down.
Ultimate is ready.
Enemy missing left.
Be right back.
I'm very tempted to dive him. I think I could.
Pyromancer has arrived.
Attack.
I do need to be careful though. I don't want to take too many risks when I'm so far ahead. When Hercules could maybe
Be
just come
careful
over.
left. Ultimate is ready. Gold Fury.
On my way.
I'm sad I didn't get Herc. Should have waited with my 3.
Your right tower is under attack.
Oh, he was there. The one spot I didn't look. My hands. It's cold. Usually it takes like a game or two to really warm up, then it's fine. But it's so cold right now. It's also kind of cold in my room actually. Probably turn up the heat a bit.
Killing spree.
Attack the fire giant.
Your team has
Damn.
destroyed a
Noah is
middle
not
enemy
having a good
tower.
time over there.
Fire giant.
It's a pretty rough matchup for her too.
Your team has destroyed the pyromancer. Your right tower is under attack. Your left tower is under attack.
Defend left lane.
Your left tower has been destroyed.
I'm really thinking because I want to rotate and help left still. It's a very easy lane for me to kill,
Be careful, middle.
specifically Artemis.
Ultimate is down.
I picked Hades partly because of Artemis.
Enemy missing right.
An enemy has been slain.
Enemy missing left. Be careful. It's gonna be okay.
Your middle tower is under attack.
Enemy missing.
Are you ready? Batter up! Rank 3! Walk it off!
Should be fine.
Oh, hi. Enemy missing left.
An enemy
turned
has
left.
been slain.
I want to get this tower.
Ally has been slain.
Missing left. Be careful, middle.
No, I screwed that one up. I wasn't sure which direction he was gonna ult in.
The Gold
I
Fury.
wasted my blink for that too.
On my way.
I should have just waited with my blink. That's literally it. Wait for until he has already used his ult. But it's easy to be You know, it's easy to know what you should have done in hindsight.
Your team has destroyed
Achilles is somehow still, I mean, I guess it's just
Lord
solo,
the
but
fire giant.
Achilles is actually the highest level in their team.
your middle tower is under
Even though I've
attack.
been denying him a pretty decent amount.
Careful! On my way!
Just solo in a nutshell, I guess.
My power grows.
Enemy missing. Be careful left.
Be right
Enemy
back.
spotted. Retreat left lane.
Your team has destroyed a left enemy tower.
Yeah, I don't damage him that much anymore.
Enemies in
An ally has been slain. Rampage.
I feel like we should have killed someone there. Oh well. It's tragic that the Achilles got out again.
Your team has destroyed a left enemy tower.
Still worth trade though if we get a tier 2, so I'll take it. At this point though, I gotta be more careful. I just stop kind of spending all my energy on this Achilles. He's not really anyone when I should be focusing anymore.
Under attack.
Follow me.
Ultimate is down!
Be right back.
Knock it off. Your middle tower is under attack.
If I had my ult, I could probably look for the kill there, but it is what it is.
Ultimate is down! Enemy missing left! On my way!
The soul is for the taking.
I think I'll do Helm of Darkness for my last item. It's been a while since I've done that on Hades, but I feel like this is one of those games where I need to.
Attack the fire giant.
Like Artemis,
Enemies
Kukulkan,
have returned to base.
just in terms of self, peeling are pretty good. Hercules and Achilles and Gap are gonna be one hell of a front line to try and get through, so I need the help.
Your team has destroyed the Pyromancer. An enemy has
Damn
been
it!
slain.
What's with this fucking peeling, man?
Enemy spotted!
Retreat.
I don't think this is really a good fight for us. I have to be honest with you.
Are you ready?
Okay, man.
Okay.
Attack
You
the
mojo fucked
fire
me.
giant.
Left!
Walk it off.
Attack the gold fury.
Your right tower is under attack. Your team has destroyed a middle enemy tower.
Don't think I actually could have killed anyway, but still.
Oh, hi!
Take the darkness.
Your right tower is under attack. Your team has destroyed the Gold Fury.
Extra awesome!
Ward the fire
Your
giant.
right tower is under attack.
Middle lane.
An enemy has been slain.
One of a kind.
My
Your
tower.
right tower is under attack.
It's gone.
Enemy missing. Be careful.
We should really just try and get ready for fire here. Before we lose the lead that we have at the moment. They don't have 20s yet. We're 3. And I really don't want this Warhorn.
The Pyroman has arrived.
Enemy missing right.
Retreat. Be careful. Be right back. Attack the fire giant.
On my way.
Attack the fire Retreat
giant.
middle lane. Retreat middle lane.
Yes. Attack fire giant.
Set up an ambush here.
Well, that's why Zumo just kind of unintentionally fucked me over. Guys, why are you not going in? That was a great ult. I was literally the only one fucking doing anything about it.
Double kill. Shut down. Shut down.
I do wish we had an actual ADC in this game though. Like, I don't feel like this... Like, Nua is just... She's not an ADC, right?
Double kill.
She just doesn't do anything. She has such long cooldowns, especially with a build like this.
Deicide.
Enemies at the fire giant.
Your team has destroyed the fire giant. An enemy has been slain.
Well, that definitely shouldn't have worked out for us. I fucked up my timing completely.
Attack the gold fury.
On my way.
This is upon us.
Be careful. Retreat.
Yes.
Your team has destroyed the Gold Fury.
Group up.
Ultimate is down.
I could probably just split right, honestly. I can take a Phoenix by myself if they don't defend it.
An enemy has been
Be
slain.
careful left.
An ally has been slain.
Follow me. Ultimate is down.
I fucked up.
Ultimate is ready.
Still hit me.
On my way.
Your team has destroyed a left enemy Phoenix. An enemy has been slain. Your team has destroyed a middle
Attack
enemy
right
Phoenix.
lane.
Tasty.
Your team has destroyed a right enemy Phoenix.
Be careful.
Okay, time to hide the eggs.
Killing spree.
There's no way I should have survived, man. That was so risky. But I wanted to kill that Artemis so badly.
Completed.
Be right back.
Oh well. I do feel like my decision making is a bit sloppy in when to go in, but it also gets a lot harder to do, because I can just see Hercules looking for me every time that I do. I can just smell him.
Be careful. Gank left lane. Ultimate is ready.
Slain.
Extra awesome.
Ultimate is ready.
Ultimate is ready.
Attack the Gold Fury.
Take my blade.
Get up.
Just need some fire minions in there.
We have
Good
completed
job,
our mission.
everyone. You're one of a kind.
Bye.
Victory.
Hi, Carlos. Hello. Hello, hello. Actually, before I queue, I need to fix my my typing here somehow. I don't honestly know how, because I cannot. Yeah, it still doesn't fucking work. My keyboard settings are fucked up, guys. So give me a second. I will. I guess I can just queue while I try to fix it. If I haven't fixed it in a few minutes, it's gonna be because I don't know how. Let me give it a shot. Worst case scenario, it wants me to restart, and then I'll just have to wait until after the stream. But it also means I just can't tweet out that I'm streaming. That's kind of it. It doesn't really affect gameplay anyway, so should be alright. Why are you doing this to me, though? Keyboard, why are you betraying me like this? I definitely fucked something up in my settings somewhere. I must have pressed something wrong. Damn it. FPS has been fucked. What do you mean? In Smite? I at least haven't had any issues. With Smite specifically. It's a different case in Monster Hunter Wilds. That shit's broken. Still a fun game though. But that performance is terrible. Whatever. I give up. I do not know how to fix it, and I'm gonna need help from a Google guide or a friend. I'll just fix it after the stream. Dude, I can't jungle. I don't want to do that. So I use dash and hold once to kill a kill instead of using 3. I think it's best to dash.
Select your god.
Well, I wouldn't say there is a best option. It's just situational. If I want to keep him in place longer, the thing is, I knew that my 3 was coming up, like outside of the ult. So what I could do is just keep him there for until my 3 is back up, and then kill him with that if the dash doesn't end up killing. Because I don't think my 3 would have finished him off, and it ends the ult a lot earlier. Also, what the hell am I picking? I panic picked Hades again, but whatever. I will have dodged. Okay. What the dash will do is extend the ultimate duration. So it is still really good, but it's kind of situational whether it's better or not. In terms of damage, it generally isn't better. But I want to keep him in place, so I could just finish him off with my 3. It was just a more secure option. It was just a bronze soul laner. Yeah, he wasn't that good. Like, he wasn't terrible. He wasn't terrible. Just from what I saw, it's just he definitely had interesting decision making. Like, he wasn't used to playing against someone who knows how to take advantage of you, like in your positioning. Let me see if I can get something here, because I do not want to support. I'll even take ADC over support. Yeah, I feel like KUKU was a bigger issue than the Achilles. Like, Achilles wasn't that bad in actual fight. He just had issues with his positioning, but that Kukulkan was good choice of words for him. It's meant to his patching, fair enough. To get me out of the support role. I mean, I'll play it. I have people on my team that can definitely carry. I think I would be alright with it. I just don't like playing it. It's that simple. Vexel, I've been thinking. Alright, I've been thinking. I don't want to do it for free. But I'm also not the person who's gonna ask for subs, because it doesn't really matter. But I am willing to do one Yemoja game in solo. But I don't want to do it for free, and I don't know what I would ask of you. I've been thinking. Just not very much. Name the price. I guess you owe me a win. Like, I don't want it to be an outside thing. Like, I don't give a shit about subs. I tried to swap with Pinky. He didn't wanna do it. I'll just play support. It's whatever. There goes my go-to support. My Zobek, no! The fuck do I play now? Bacchus is also something I can play, but I do not think he's good. Sure.
Select your god.
I will play... Oh, my Artemis. Man. What do I play now? I wanted to play Artemis. Medusa? I'll do Medusa. Yeah, they do have Aladdin, but like I don't think Aladdin is an instant win. Go Thor? Yeah, the best ADC. Thor. I think Aladdin is really, really scary late game, but I don't think he's that good early. I think he's shit on by a lot of stuff early on. Like the Thors, the like Hun bots, I guess, depending. Well, maybe not bots anymore, but like Fenrir. I still think those types of gods are more scary than him. But once Aladdin hits late game, he does become this ridiculously broken, just really hard to deal with god. I'm interested to see what people will do with him in competitive, because often the ones that are really broken late game necessarily won't be picked that highly. You're banning Thor now. I understand people banning Thor a bit.
Medusa.
Like he's tough to deal with the aspect, but I don't think he's ban worthy personally. But I think people need to accept that they need to go for anti-healing into it. People don't do that, so he was just gonna keep healing. But an auto attack Thor is not gonna it's not any harder to deal with than something like, I guess, Amma, or well, maybe that's a bad example because she's broken. She's kind of broken, but I don't know. I guess my point being is that he doesn't have a kit that supports really being an auto attacker necessarily, even though it is annoying. So I don't know. I mean, we did give Nika Aladdin here. We don't want to hit late game. Then we might struggle. It's a beats game. What do ADCs build these days? Do they go Gilded Arrow? Vexel, surely you know. What do ADCs build? Do you go Leather Cowl? Gilded Arrow? Who's the Sobek? Oh yeah, it's Romeo. Arrow or dagger? Okay. I guess on Medusa I would just do dagger. No, I regret doing that. I'll do this. I won't try it. I didn't think people really did dagger anymore.
Minions have spawned.
Also, do you level your 1 or your 3 or your 2 on Medusa these days? Like, I usually just level the 2 just for lane clear, because it feels really awkward if you don't. But I don't know, because the 1 is obviously super good just for fighting. Yeah, okay, so if I get fed, I guess I'll level the 1.
Your left tower is under attack.
What a play, Romeo. What was that? Not great by Gep though. Roll, Gep, roll.
Your right tower
Didn't
is
die
under
though. That's
attack.
great.
Your left tower is under attack. First blood.
Big by Gep. I was hoping he actually was gonna shield me, because I wasn't gonna beat it. Okay. That's tragic. That was bad by me. Don't know why Gep rolled away though. We should have gone for their back camps. Sure just beats it though. I didn't want to beat it again. I really want to fight these fights, but like... I want to fight really bad, but maybe I should stop, because they do have a much better fight than we do this early. With Sobek. I'm gonna stop trolling. Might be too late now though. It's either that or I need to start pressing beats. It's one of those two.
Your left tower is under attack.
I mean, we
An ally has
We
been
should be going for
slain.
red right now. I don't like Gep's pathing for this stuff. Can't complain too much because I'm playing like shit, but... We cannot be giving them free stuff when we should be taking it.
Your left tower is under attack.
The only real positive thing that happened out of all that stuff is that Artemis only got 1 kill, I guess, and Sobek got the 2 others. So I'm not too far behind, but I mean... I didn't get first blood because Gip also have that. I'm just gonna swap to leveling my 2 instead here. She went dagger. I mean, I guess good that it's an auto attack Artemis, because I still think she's way, way better as an ability based hunter. So let me just grab this. Otherwise I can't fight at all anyway.
He jumped. I'll let him jump.
Your middle tower is under attack.
Enemy missing right.
The enemy team has destroyed the gold
Okay,
fury.
how are they doing gold? The fuck? Damn, we really didn't auto her once. That sucks, man. Dude, she ran past 2 people and they didn't do anything. Well, Anubis was winning, but that feels so tragic. I can't believe she got out of that.
Defend middle lane.
Killing spree.
Dude, Hades on. Man, Pinky! No!
Your middle tower
He's playing Hades too! Hades is really good into Aladdin early on. Why are you getting smacked so hard?
Your left tower is under attack.
Once again, I feel like I can't really complain too hard because I'm playing like shit myself, but at least he should have a good matchup over there. Mine is not the best into Artemis.
An ally has been slain.
Attack.
Still a full level behind.
Enemy missing right.
Right. Be careful.
Dash down so back.
Your left tower is under attack.
Enemy missing right.
Damn, I see so many of them getting low in mid. And Artemis fucking rotated. I did call it.
Your left tower is under attack.
I am just catching up by her just rotating though, so it is good for me. ages, dude.
You have been slain.
Didn't expect bots there. That's my bad, I guess. It's a long fucking rotation for a single kill on me. Goddamn. Awkward.
Your right tower is under attack.
It's a good blink by Romeo. Blocking that dance ult. Yeah, Bragaskin's XE. That's pretty much the only thing I know about ADC is just the early items to build. I always get a bit confused once crit gets involved. On what I should be buying. I think it's always the like red blade thing looking motherfucker.
Window is from bots.
Sorry.
Don't have anything for this. Didn't realize he was talking to us.
Your left tower is under attack.
So back dash down, so back dash down, so back dash down. Knock him, knock him, knock him, knock him.
Your middle tower is under attack. You have slain an enemy. Your right tower is under attack.
Be careful, guys. I'm coming. I'm coming so fast.
Your middle tower is under attack.
Dude, I'm so happy Artemis didn't see me. What the hell? She was so tunnel visioned to someone else. On the Geb. I got so lucky there, I got greedy for the soap egg, so I stuck around. I was lucky.
An enemy has been slain.
Great.
Your middle tower is under attack.
I don't play ADCs often, guys. I don't know if you can tell. I'm a bit sloppier specifically on Medusa too. She's not a god I play very much. And I always found her autos a bit weird.
Yeah, we can defend this.
Your right tower is under attack.
On my way.
The enemy team has destroyed the gold fury.
Behind us.
Fucking Aladdin was here, man. That's so fucking tragic. I got too greedy for the butts.
Yeah, I think Aladdin can come because
He already killed me. At least Artemis died too, so I won't fall too far behind her again.
An ally has been slain.
Are they just on fire or whatever? What the fuck's Artemis? What is she missing?
Enemy missing right.
There she is.
An enemy has been slain.
Like, I want to rotate more and be part of things,
Tower is under
but mostly because Artemis is missing so much. I can never tell if she's rotating or not, and I want to be there if she is.
Your left tower is under attack. An ally has been slain.
Now she fucking rotated though, for some reason.
Your left tower is under attack.
I might use this.
My life against their team comp later is not gonna be fun, man.
On my way.
No!
An enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain. Deicide.
Oh, it's huge for me getting a Aladdin kill though. Big fight.
Your team has destroyed the fire giant.
Got a few lucky crits as well on bots.
Your right tower is under attack.
He's actually an aspect bot, so I didn't even realize. He hasn't really been in front of me very much in this
Be
game.
careful, right?
Attack the Gold Fury. Okay.
An ally has been slain. The enemy team has destroyed the Gold Fury.
That's kind of on me. I should have just waited. I was still hitting it.
Double kill. Left the river.
For me.
Aladdin's corner camping.
Retreat.
Retreat.
Attack.
I think the only nice thing about playing Medusa in this case...
Retreat.
Just run, we have 4 people.
Retreat!
So back, no blink.
The only nice thing is that, with my ult at least, if Aladdin jumps me, I can just insta-ult, and he needs to turn around eventually, so... As long as I hit it, which I might not, he could still dash through me and try and juke it. And then it's gonna be tough for me, but...
Be careful.
We need wards.
It's just...
Enemy spotted.
Be careful, guys.
Wait, where's our whole team? No one else went in? Damn. I should have beat the knockup. Not that I think it would have made a difference. I think... Yeah. I'm holding on to my beats too much this game though. Like way too much. If I just pre-beats the ultimate as well, we could have just killed him on the spot too. Really sloppy game for me. Still though, I'd rather that they focus me than the Anubis.
Right, enemy tower.
I'll get Titans before I get Deathbringer. Actually, maybe that's stupid. I'll just get Deathbringer first. Don't really think Soap is the main issue on that team, so...
I'm backing.
Right back. Defend the fire giant.
On my way.
Pyromancer has arrived. Destroyed the fire. His ally. Double kill.
That was a huge ult for me. The backliners didn't see it at all.
Guys, we're finishing the game. Just come with me.
Oh my god.
I have ult in 10 seconds.
It's also a very huge Hades ult.
They don't... Just Titan, guys. Just the Titan. Ignore all of them. Titan. Run. I don't know, Gamehunter, what you're doing, man. Just do the Titan, bro.
Dude, bots literally jumped in front of me. I can't hit the Titan when he's in front of me. Like, I'm not sure what you expect me to do. I can't shoot through the bots, man. What is dumbest thing to say, man? What the fuck do you mean? That's fucking run in front of me.
Your left tower is under attack.
It would be even worse if, like, if he means positioning-wise, It's not like I can just stand on him. That's even worse. Then he's gonna fucking kill both of us.
Your middle tower is under attack.
Damn.
An ally has been slain. Deicide.
Just a quick 1v1.
Your middle tower has been destroyed. Your
Should be able to
middle
defend
is
still.
under attack.
But that was really bad. I think the ending in general was just a bad call. Like, it's just unnecessarily risky. We can just take 3 Phoenixes and then, like, play it safe. Still, though, it's still risky into Aladdin overall the further in we go, but it just feels like an unnecessary risk. We could even just kill them. Like, if Botch jumps in like he did, he dies.
Is under attack.
But I was trying to go for the Titan, as you said.
Have slain an enemy. Your right tower is under attack.
Deathbringer
Can you help him,
online.
Gap? Can you help Hades?
Your right tower is under attack.
Gap, can you help Hades?
It should be good.
Medusa, can you come?
Okay.
I mean, we need to defend left eventually.
An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain. Double kill. Shut down.
Defend.
Ultimate is down.
Be careful.
Damn. My ult just came up. That's so annoying, man. Fucking Acne behind us as well.
An enemy has been slain.
Yeah. A bit greedy for me again. Looking for the Aladdin. But I did not expect Acne suddenly behind us too. They're playing so aggressive. I feel like we're not able to punish them really for it. We did have 2 people dead though. Yeah, Gib was not hearing the call there. That was pretty funny. I mean, he could have rotated, right? But if Aladdin is already on top of Hades on blue when Geb is doing a mid-wave, he's not gonna make it in time anyway, man. That shit's done. So either Hades survives on his own or he dies, right?
Can we group up?
We need some more safe words too. Aladdin is gonna keep looking from us. Or just for one of us.
Yeah, I just tried to instantly one-shot him, but it's a bit problematic.
An enemy has been slain. Double kill. Rampage.
Dude, that was almost really bad from Hades. I'm not gonna lie. That was potentially gonna be real bad.
Mitte, Pinky.
now he actually uses the revive. I was surprised he didn't do it before when we were trying to end. I thought it was down. Just rolled him.
I might use this.
They keep winning the wave clears because they keep getting Warhorn.
Fire giant.
Enemy missing.
They're probably just on gold.
Your right tower is under attack.
Kinda need that pen now that I was really trying to go for.
Your right phoenix is under attack. You have been slain. Has been slain. Killing spree. Your right phoenix is under attack.
Go for the Aladdin, man. Go. I don't think he dies. Oh, no, Fire Giant smacked him. Never mind. Would they lose a Phoenix for this though? This long ass fight.
Defend right lane.
Your Titan is under attack.
I mean, if we don't get anything out of this, we lost the trade here. Because we also lost the Phoenix. And it was a 2 for 3, so... At least I'm full build. It sucks it went that bad, because I just got a kill for free. I got one super low, or like Artemis to half, and the Sobek super low. Oh, well, like 40% I guess. Then even maybe healed to like 50 or 60. But it was just me and Gip, isolated. So they were just dealing with Aladdin, so I do get it, but it still sucks. Because I don't think I could have done much more in that whole scenario.
Defend the fire. Okay. I will be careful.
Just bordering on
Your
both,
team has
making sure I can
destroyed the Gold Fury.
rotate to wherever we need me.
Retreat.
Ward here.
Be careful!
I want to make sure they don't have wards on us again.
Be careful right.
Be careful.
Defend the fire giant.
Be careful.
Your team has destroyed
Enemies
a right
have
enemy
returned.
Phoenix. The enemy team has destroyed the fire giant. slain.
This isn't really good anymore.
Retreat.
Now, but for what? Retreat, for what?
They have fire,
Chill a bit.
and they're just gonna back now. Like, I don't think chasing that would be a good idea, but if they want to do that, I'm down for it. I just don't see why we would. It's just a 4v4 and they have fire. Sounds like bad news to me. There's nothing to take either, so like whoever loses the fight just kind of loses the game here. Don't really have any reason to fight. It's just a Phoenix down versus a Phoenix down.
They are missing right. We need to defend.
I'll defend right lane.
Defend. Be careful. Left.
There's 4 of them in right.
I think that's a very good fight for us. Just engage.
Your right Phoenix is under attack.
Beats down. Don't get one shot from Aladdin poke. Gap, can you reset? Left is pushing. Just stay.
An ally has been slain.
I don't know what that was.
Yeah, Gep might not have comms on.
Just wait for Gap.
Your right Phoenix is under attack. You have been slain.
Oh. Damn, he just one-shot 2 people there.
Killing spree. Your Titan is under attack. Double kill.
No, we absolutely threw this game, I think. We were literally on their Titan. And I did play pretty bad, like, a lot of this game, but I don't think the team fighting was a problem on my end. Like, I did a lot in some of those team fights. Oh well. I should have done more damage than this, but that is what it is. I did feel like I was the primary target for Aladdin in every team fight, so it was pretty hard for me to do much. Because it wasn't always just him. They just had really good team fighting. It was really annoying to deal with. And I think Medusa is pretty bad at dealing with a lot of that stuff. Her dash is blockable, all that shit. It's unfortunate. My Medusa really is sloppy though. Sloppy. I do think one of my issues with ADC in general at the moment in Smite 2 is that I don't enjoy a lot of them. I think Artemis is fun, maybe that's just because she's new. I kinda dislike the rest. Specifically the auto attack based ones. Like, I don't like Rama in Smite 2. I loved Rama in Smite 1. I don't like it here. I kinda like Jing Wei in Smite 1 as well, a lot more. And it's not because they feel worse. I'm not sure why. Same thing, well, on her definitely feels worse, but... Like, I like Uller, I like Neith, but that's because they're more mages, I guess. They're just auto attack or ability based instead. It is unfortunate. The only one I think that can really save ADC for me in Smite 2 is gonna be Apollo. We'll see if he is fun. I'll definitely enjoy him in solo, but I do not know if I'll enjoy him in ADC. I could also just be a bit too harsh on myself. Like, if it wasn't because I was getting jumped by Aladdin basically every fight, it would have been easier for me to do something in those fights. Like, the few fights I didn't get jumped, I did so much more. But yeah, we just kind of reached a rough point to deal with Aladdin if the Aladdin knows how to play the game. Just fucking poke with the 1 until you're able to go in, but yeah, Geb also died at a rough time at the last team fight when we needed him the most. We didn't really have a second front line with a Hades, because he's just kind of an all-in mage. And we never really got that chance. I think if Geb dies, that's worst case scenario for us, because we no longer have a front line and Sobek can just run around and do whatever he wants. And we can't really insta-kill him unless we're able to lock him down. I did so much damage to him, but yeah, doesn't really matter a whole lot. He shouldn't be the one I'm focusing either way in those fights. Because I don't remember. I think I hit him in the last team fight too, a lot. I got him pretty low, but then Aladdin showed up. On a side note, I do need to look for a stream game, or a queue game rather. I have a few ideas for some, just in terms of genre, but not anything in terms of specific games. Might do a Thor, not a Thor game, a Mordred game, potentially. Oh, we just gave him Aladdin again.
Select your god.
Do I just do Hades? I need something that can deal with Aladdin. I guess. I feel so tryhard today. Fucking, the only thing I played in solo is Hades, and I've done it 3 times. Well, no, I only got 3, actually. No, 2 games, rather. The third, one of the games was dodged. But I have locked in Hades 3 times today. I feel nasty for doing that. I just don't know what else to play. I'm so burned out on all the gods. I can't even look at all the gods. But like thinking about it, I don't even know what I feel like playing. I'm at this weird stage where I enjoy the game, but I don't really feel like playing any of the gods. They have a really interesting comp. Very all in. Man, I want to play Aladdin. It's been a while since I've gotten Aladdin. Kind of smells like a Beats game, but I just feel like not having Blink on Hades feels so much worse. It's just like Chalk, honestly. Though I think on Chalk it's a must, almost. It just makes them so much better. I think on Hades you can get away with running Beats, but... Pieces of pussies. Well, the thing is, sometimes you gotta be a pussy to survive, you know? Sometimes you gotta accept it.
Hi, party people!
Especially if you're against someone like Nika on Aladdin. Having beats might be very nice. Otherwise you might be cooked. We'll see. Oh, hello.
Enemy spotted. Completus!
He's fucking dead now.
Be careful! Middle! Awesome! First blood. Okay. Minions have spawned. An enemy has been slain. Enemies incoming!
This is so cooked, man. My lane! It's so far away! No! I got an assist and it gave me nothing. Barely anything. It's gonna fucking take my blue now.
Your left tower is under attack.
Maybe not. Oh, he's gonna do my blue for sure. No, maybe not.
Your left tower
He's baiting me.
attack. Your right tower is under attack.
Should have expected it. He baited me again.
An enemy has been slain.
It's fine. I just need level 5.
Curses! Your left tower is under attack. An enemy has been slain.
Oh yeah!
What to even do? I mean, this was partly because I was late to lane. There is absolutely no way. Fucking Marriage is here too, man. I don't think I should have died there. I don't think Aladdin kills me alone. Oh well. Like normally in this matchup, as Hades, like you insta clear the wave at level 1 as well almost. But because I fell behind and decided to rotate mid, and that was a weird fight, it became a bit awkward.
Be careful.
He doesn't have ult for a while now though, so I'm not actually too afraid of him.
An enemy has been slain. Double kill. Tanks. An ally has been slain. Your middle tower is under attack.
I wish mid didn't die there. I would have liked to invade the red buff.
Take this jungle buff. Yes. Enemies. Your left tower is under attack. Okay.
Go bananas, man.
Enemies in
I got the
right
blue
jungle.
somehow. By absolute sheer fucking luck.
You rock. You're something else.
Heck yeah! Follow them. Let's settle this.
Be right back.
See ya. Take this jungle buff.
Problem. Thanks.
Follow me. Completed.
That's too far.
Very happy that I did though. Losing another blue would have been annoying just XP wise.
Bye. Hi.
Enemies in the left jungle.
Be careful left.
Be careful left. Enemies in left lane.
With hers coming, I'm fucking chilling, which is super annoying, because I would like to poke him right now.
Follow them. Let's settle this.
Dude, that's fucking crazy. Is that the support? What is she? I don't even know what she is. I can't tell. Yeah, this is support.
An enemy.
I saw Herc wasn't there, and I got confident we could fight. Then fucking Nemesis shows up.
Your left tower is under attack.
I'm going crazy, guys.
No problem.
I'm losing it.
Your left tower is under attack.
I just need someone on my team to be nearby if I'm getting ganked. That would be nice. But no. I'm getting ganked by the fucking support.
Your left tower is under attack.
Wild.
Yes. Be careful right.
Like, my team's still doing well. I'm definitely not complaining. Like, we're probably gonna win this. Just based on how much my team is dominating.
My way.
But
Shut down.
dying to support ganks at 7 minutes or 6 minutes or whatever it was is a feels bad moment as a solo laner.
Cancel that. Enemies have returned. Enemies have returned. Be careful left. Your right tower is under attack.
I thought my team was gonna kind of help me, but never mind. Dude, what the fuck have I done? That was really bad for me too, but my team also just decided, no, we're not gonna do it. This is not for us. We ain't doing this. I need to just play selfish again. Go back to only doing what I know I can do. No more looking for team play, because I'm playing like shit as a result. Yeah, I don't think Assad, like... Aladdin is really good, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's this unbeatable, insane god as people are making him out to be. Like, in both skirmishes we've had, while definitely annoying, he is not in the situation where he would have just, you know, fucked me up completely alone. Like, in some of those exchanges, like, I would have... What the fuck is this?
Your fate is sealed.
But I need to stop, man! My team keeps coming and they killed Aladdin, that's great. I don't blame them for this, but what the fuck am I doing as a result of it? I'm just gonna sit back and be ashamed of how I'm playing right now. But also, what the fuck? You fucked me up, this Nemesis. Like, my team is killing them. Just carry me, you know? Just carry me. Yeah, I'm playing for the late game, guys. I'm playing for the late game. It's time to swap off the Hades. I can't play it anymore. I played it too much. I'm level 9. Level 9. So far behind. I went back into heal too, even though I could have just blinked away. Why would I do that? 3 items, guys. Once I have 3 items online, I'll fight back. Trust.
Ultimate is down. Your middle tower is under attack. Your left tower is under attack. Killing spree.
Oh yeah, you're killing it.
Be right back. Enemy spotted.
This definitely goes up there for arguably one of my worst games I've ever played. I'm very confident in my abilities in Smite 2 right now, but this game is not it. It's terrible.
An ally has been slain.
I did call it, boys.
An ally has been slain.
I need to focus though. Didn't expect them to actually go and gank over there. I saw him leave, but didn't expect him to rotate over there.
An enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain. Killing spree. Shut down.
Take this jungle buff. Take this jungle buff.
Okay, it is.
Has arrived. Your middle tower is under attack.
I want it back.
Awesome. Enemies have returned. Careful.
Yes.
Help, right lane.
No problem.
Getting at least 1 kill is very nice for me. Especially on the shutdown too. Didn't realize Acne was getting bigger.
Enemy missing left.
Ultimate is ready.
Enemies in middle lane. Your middle tower is under attack. Killing spree.
No problem.
Ow.
That's too bad. Be careful, the enemies behind us.
Your middle
Enemies
tower is
behind
under
us.
attack. An enemy has been slain. Your left tower is under attack. On my way.
My dash didn't go off. That was kind of unfortunate. I feel like that should have been a kill. Twice my dash was cancelled.
Your left tower is under attack. An enemy has been
That felt a little horse shit. Smite 2, I'm not gonna lie.
Your left tower is under attack.
Careful. Enemy missing.
Alright, probably online. I can play the game now.
And the big left leg.
I should have just ulted once he just jumped on me. I don't know why I didn't. That would have been the best thing to do. Once his 3 is down, like, what's he gonna do?
This jungle buff.
An ally has been slain.
On my way.
Sorry.
Mama, dude. That's too bad.
You have been slain. On my way.
Yep. I have no words.
Be careful.
Breathe in. I'm losing it.
It's a trap.
Slowly losing it, yes. I don't think today is it. I can't play right today. Oh, I still fucking hit bots in the back. Nika moment. Go bots. Oh,
Killing spree.
damn, they both died. That is tragic.
Your middle tower is under attack.
He almost outplayed him in there too.
Your middle tower has been destroyed.
Ultimate is ready. I will walk. That's too bad. I'll defend left lane.
I'm playing this really bad.
Be careful. Middle.
Said it a few times, and I'm gonna keep saying it until I'm not. He's level 17 now, though. He did rotate and get a bunch more kills. I need to be more fucking careful.
Missing right. Enemy ultimate down.
I tried to make something happen, knowing bots was coming. I guess I shouldn't have. Maybe this is my last game. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing in this one. I do not know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm trying to make some kind of play, but I don't know what I'm trying to do. Does that make sense? No, it doesn't. That's the problem. I need to just sit back and farm. I'm trying to deal with a super fed Aladdin.
An enemy has been slain.
I'm almost half the kills.
On my way.
I mean, Aladdin and Afro... Aladdin and Afro top 2. Probably, yeah. I'm trying to think even in like a competitive setting.
Enemy team has destroyed the
I'm still not sure where to put Aladdin, because I still don't think his early is that good.
has been slain.
And especially as a solo. I think there's a lot of gods that can really easily shit on him.
Bummer, dude. That's too bad. Be careful. Enemies behind us. Behind us.
I should just sit back and farm, but I want to rotate and help the team instead.
Has been slain.
They're winning the fight really hard.
Your right tower is under
Oh,
attack.
he almost got him.
On my way. On my way. Rampage.
Tap middle tower. Sweet healing.
Fucking Nemesis support, man. That was fine, but this fucking Nemesis support is doing so much damage to me. Like, look at this shit. This is not gonna be a fun Hades game. I'm just gonna get Nemesis ulted when I ult. Yeah, I mean, you don't really get that much. Actually, that's not true. You get actually get quite a lot of protections for ulting. Rough. That won't help me in this game. I got Cupid. I'll take the trade.
Enemy spotted! Enemy spotted!
Okay.
On my way!
Ultimate is ready.
Ultimate is ready. Set up an ambush here. Attack! Attack!
Dude, there's no fucking way he still gets that. That's so stupid. Dancer ultimate got super fucked. There's no way. Good ult. That's so tragic though. I could have fucking needed that kill.
Your middle tower is under attack. An ally has been slain.
Local Aladdin jumps into Hades' ult to kill him. Yes, that is what happens.
An enemy has been slain.
And he was like fucking 20% HP too.
Enemies in flame.
Yes.
Be careful.
My life will be so much easier when I can focus someone else but Aladdin.
Is under attack. On my way.
It legitimately will be.
Enemy spotted. Careful.
No problem.
Between that and when I can one-shot him.
Is under attack.
We're both 20 and full builds.
Ultimate is ready.
Then my life will also be easier.
My way. Ultimate is ready. Be careful. On my way.
Follow me.
Attack!
Your right tower is under attack. Slain an enemy. An enemy has been slain.
Dr. Gold Fury. Let's put on a show.
Yep. we're all three gonna die here.
Sorry. An ally has been slain.
Damn it.
Middle enemy tower.
Still, I mean, still bad, like good trade for me, but we need to kill Aladdin in these fights, otherwise we'll just lose.
Retreat. Set up an ambush here. Your left tower is under attack.
We're really taking a rough fight up there. I don't think they should fight.
Cancel that. Bye.
Save yourself. An ally has been slain. Your right tower is under attack.
Kill 2 of them. They don't think they can do fire as long as these 2 guys are still alive. Never mind. Aladdin's back alive.
Your left tower is under attack.
Let's see survive at least, but they will go to fire now for that. Like right there is what I should have done all game. Ult as a response to his ult and he can't get out. Because usually he just jumps me. If I ult as a response, it's great.
The enemy team has destroyed
Is Obsidian Shard even worth it here? I don't think it is.
Sorry.
Maybe that's really bad for me to buy. I think I'll do Doomorb instead. I'll still get pen, but I'll just get more
enemy
out of
team
it.
has destroyed the pyramid.
Because I do want some pen. Otherwise Herc is going to be annoying with that little amount. Actually, that's also the Nemesis. Maybe Obsidian Shard isn't that bad.
Retreat! It's a trap!
It's a trap. I would like to finish it before the next fight though. That would be kinda nice.
I will ward right.
The enemy team has destroyed the Gold Fury. Set up an ambush here.
Ward here.
Your right tower is under attack.
Be careful.
Be careful. Your right tower has been destroyed. An ally has been slain. You have slain an enemy.
A dagger too.
Is under attack.
And I couldn't use it because I was CC'd. And now Nemesis picked it up. Nemesis is dagger, be careful. What even went so wrong? Like, I basically killed 2 of them there. We got Aladdin for free and we still lost the fight. Then I don't think we have a chance, man. Actually, maybe I'm being too mean about that, actually. Neith did just get 1-shot by him.
Your Titan is under attack.
Big save from Ares, but he might be dead as a result.
Your middle
This man is not trying to juke the Hercules too.
an ally has been slain. Your Titan is under attack. An enemy has been slain. Your middle Phoenix has been destroyed. Double kill.
Neith just died again.
Triple kill. Killing spree. Deicide. Your Titan is under attack.
He just wants to use dagger.
The Pyromancer has arrived. Your Titan is under attack.
Your fate is sealed. Take my blade.
Enemies in the right joint.
That's so bad by me, I guess. My team knew they were coming, I guess I just didn't. I can't believe we're losing to their comp though, but it's just because they have Aladdin.
Under attack.
Oh, damn. That's kind of big. Might mean they can end as a result of that, actually. Oh.
An enemy has been slain.
This fucking bot's still dueling fucking Nemesis, man. Leave her alone. Help us. We still have a chance to win this, but it is looking pretty rough at this point.
On my way. Ultimate is down.
An ally has been slain. You have slain an enemy.
This party is off the hook. Enemies have returned to base.
Unfortunate.
Be careful.
Like, I feel both teams is kind of playing like apes. Going in way too deep for no reason. Dying for it. Respawning. Doing the same thing. I do think the advantage almost goes into Hades' favor late game in the 1v1 into Aladdin. Just because he can't ult me while I ult, and my ult will just keep doing more and more damage. Do they have... They do have Divine. And they also have that... Never mind. I was thinking about maybe going for some heavy lifesteal. But instead, I guess I'll just do a...
The enemy team has destroyed the Gold Fury.
Helm of Darkness. They're really looking for this fight.
Double kill. Killing spree.
You're killing it.
I guess my thing didn't go off?
Attack middle lane.
Okay.
Enemy spotted.
I entered, boys. I did it again.
Be careful.
I can't help but just laugh at my weird decisions right now.
Be careful.
He's getting some bombs out of this Agni here. Big beats. I don't think he dies for that now. Yeah. Weird.
Enemy spotted.
Be right back.
That was okay. That was
Enemies have
kind of
returned.
crazy clean. Somehow, did not expect that. With how Neath has been playing so far, did not expect to play like that. That was kind of hot. But again, I should not be complaining about plays from my teammates in this one.
On my way. Right back.
We need wards.
Enemy spotted.
I'm really not doing shit until I know where Aladdin is.
An enemy has been slain.
Big.
Double kill.
You're killing it. Enemies behind us. Enemies behind us. On my way.
Ultimate is down.
An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain.
Dude, I can't fucking... Why did I go into fucking lamp? It's gonna fuck us up again. That's so bad. That was bad by me.
Ultimate is down.
You can't take down the god of war that easily.
I understand people not wanting to ban Aladdin necessarily, because Aladdin, like right now, it's also worth noting, he is currently in the hands of arguably, you know, like one of, if not the best player in EU.
Be right back.
So, you know, it's usually a bit different than. You're saying no problem, buddy. I'm not so sure.
An ally has been slain.
Be careful. On my way. Defend the fire giant. Enemies at the fire giant. Completed.
Enemy team has destroyed the fire giant. Have slain an enemy. Double kill.
Dude, what? What, he killed me? Just Aladdin wave as well as fucking Agni Bomb looks like killed me. Or a wave. Or Agni wave as well as Aladdin 1, rather. Fuck me, dude.
Go for the fire.
Awesome.
You go, Ares. Fuck him up. He actually might. Damn.
Fuel for the fire. An ally has been slain.
That's too bad.
This is the most deaths I've had in, I don't know, years in a single game. Hello, I feel pain. Good to see you.
Be careful, right. Enemies incoming, right.
Ultimate
Set up
is
an
ready.
ambush here.
It could be worse, and I feel like it might end up being 20 deaths. And at this point, I kind of want 20 deaths. Oh.
An ally
Aw,
has been
man. That is... Oh, big air assault?
Well done.
He had dagger.
On my way.
slain. Enemy spotted.
I think we should look for him now that his ult is down.
Enemy spotted. Gank.
Ultimate is ready.
Enemies in
Enemies
the
have returned to
That's
base.
too bad. Woohoo!
Your fate is sealed.
Retreat completed. Be careful. Retreat completed.
Yeah, that sucks, man.
The
Where'd the
enemy
hurt
team
even
has
come from?
destroyed the gold
I
fuel.
fucking warded behind me just to make sure as well.
Enemies in the right lane. On my way.
Saved my ult at least.
Enemies in middle lane.
Be right
Be
back.
right back. We need more. Enemy spotting. We need more.
An ally has been slain.
What's even the... What's the point in playing anything? Hercules auto-tagged me to death. What are you talking about? I ulted! I was in the Hades ult. He out-healed it and autoed me to death.
Your last
I shouldn't be complaining. Hades is absolutely broken, but still.
left
That's
tower
so tragic.
Your middle Phoenix is under attack.
I can't fight anyone because they just one-shot me. Oh. Oh, nice job. Damn. Dude, Ares with his chains are doing so well. Like, legitimately. And he's just dead.
Phoenix is under attack.
Yeah, that's Danza for you.
Phoenix has been destroyed.
Danza and low mobility in current Smite 2 is just not a good combo right now. Low mobility is equal to death.
Right Phoenix is under attack. Your right Phoenix has been destroyed. Completed.
With all Phoenixes down, at least we can get some farm now. That's great. I do like farm.
Ward the fire giant.
Be careful, right?
An ally has been slain.
Enemies incoming right. Enemies behind us. Enemies behind us. Double kill.
Slain an enemy.
I tried to. I missed my auto, and the fear would have fucking saved me. I'm so bad, man. But also, how much auto did it? I can't even tell what the last one specifically did, but. That's game. I need to do better in my next game. Cause like, what the fuck, man? I played so bad in this one.
That's too
Defeat.
bad.
Sorry.
Yeah, I need a mental reset. I was going for 20 deaths, boys. Almost made it. Like, I don't think I played bad this game, but I could have done less mistakes over and over again in the early game. I died way too much early. Take a few minute break. It's fine. I'll get the minute breaks in queue. What I do need, though, is water. Like, I don't feel... Like, I don't think I need a reset per se. I just think a new game is going to be that reset. I need to start anew on something that isn't Hades. That's going to make it a bit easier. That's kind of that mental reset. I actually felt fine in this game once we hit late game. But I was underestimating like the Hercules too much, honestly. Mostly. Not the player, but the god itself. I wasn't realizing he was just going to smack me that easily and still being as tanky as he was. Didn't even realize Cupid was 115. This dude got a win. This guy has more deaths than he had both assists and kills combined. That's why I ban Aladdin. It's also why I always ban Aladdin. I ban Aladdin or pick it myself, because that right there is just... I don't know. It's too hard to deal with if the Aladdin knows how to play it. And fucking up in lane like I did shouldn't have happened. Like, that's definitely on me. And granted, it wasn't because of the Aladdin in the early game, it was because of the gangs happening with the Aladdin. But my main issue with it was mostly the... Oh, I'm first pick. That's weird. My main issue with it was mainly just that I gave up the early game where I should have had the advantage. And then he got so far ahead and I couldn't really deal with it anymore. Like, he destroys anyone. He does, but it's not like he's unbeatable, you know? He's just really hard to deal with. Of course. Now we ban Aladdin. Is that it? Now we ban it? Why are we banning Aladdin? I'm banning Armor because I don't want to deal with that shit.
Select your god.
I do hate first picking a solo though. Bots, we'll do bots then. I cannot see the character selection. I don't know what I feel like playing. Maybe Mordred? I kind of feel like playing Mordred. I'll do Mordred. I've been feeling like I kind of want to play it today. Go back to a comfort pick. This game is so weird. You re-queued, but restarted your game and it didn't put me out of the queue. Yeah, it doesn't. You need to actually cancel the queue if you want to cancel the queue. One thing I also I reported this in the esports channel too in the bug section.
I have returned.
Do not ever, guys, do not ever queue for a game if your queue just popped, because that is something you can do, and if that happens, it will search for a game in the background of your current game that you're in, and it will throw you out to join the new one. Because that happened to me. That was so weird. You're waiting for me to open the game again? Well, I think it just says you're connecting, right? If you're still not in, the game will just say that this person is connecting. But there is a lot of weird things with Smite 2 at the moment and in its systems. I do think it's a good system with the like the DC thing. Like the fact that you're not getting thrown out of the queue / the game if you crash, I think is good. Or the lobby, I should say. I think it's a Sunder game. It's either a Sunder game or an Aegis game, because they do have a lot of bullshit as well for me to not want to deal with. Especially going into lane. Actually, I'm gonna do that. In the lane, this is not gonna help me at all. But late game, having Aegis against Cupid's Nuwa and shit like that, it's gonna be real nice for me. Because I can't really get away from them once I'm in. I need to immune their shit and survive that way instead. The last few times I've played Mordred, I have had terrible servers, but this one actually is good, so... I will give credit where credit is due. Like, I've had a lot of issues with bad servers. The people that watch me regularly will know this. But last 2 streams have been no issues. I think I had one and only one bad server out of my maybe 5 or 6 games last stream. And that seems to be fixed at the moment, so... Hopefully Hi-Res somehow fixed it, or maybe I'm just lucky at the moment in terms of a patch. But I'm happy. If all I have to deal with is me being bad, I can deal with that. It's annoying and I hate it, but I can deal with it.
Get out, loser! We're gonna own some new
missing middle.
Dude, I am dog shit. Well, it's that, and I'm not used to dealing with good players. Maybe that's also one of the cases. Damn it. Don't think I lost a creep, at least. Lost 3 pots.
Your right tower is under attack. Enemy missing. Your right tower is under attack.
I missed my one. That was not great.
Enemies in the left jungle.
It's first blood, so cool.
That was a bit better.
An enemy has been slain.
Give me blue. He's gonna TP so fast, I don't think I can get it in time. Yeah, thought so.
Enemy missing middle. Be careful, right.
Ultimate is down.
Okay, dude, I got baited. Damn, I got baited. I thought you were gonna come faster. I wouldn't even have stayed. It's just because bots TP'd over that I thought we could fight. And now he's dead too.
An ally has been slain.
Kinda got baited by the Ed boy. Rip my lead.
Your right tower is under attack. An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain. Double kill.
That's too bad.
An ally has been slain. Double kill. Killing spree. Your middle tower is under attack.
Go away! I don't want to fight.
On my way. Attack! Attack!
Okay.
Missing middle.
Am I gonna have anyone nearby, boys? Anyone at any point today? Just once. I want a jungler that is with me somewhere on my side once. My blue buff was stolen again? Again, man. I want one jungler today. I did have some junglers today, just not on my blue. It is a very Black Day thing to invade blue buffs, though. I should probably expect it a bit more. Losing... it just sucks. Nothing else to it, it just sucks.
Falling back. Your middle tower is under attack. Enemy missing middle. Enemies in the right jungle. Be careful. Slain an enemy.
That's so weird. I didn't even see Thor. Would have been nice if he called it. He didn't have to die for it. I would have just been with him.
Ally has been slain.
Down.
It's the same guy who played the Nemesis support last game, so him ganking solo at the exact same time is ironic. That's how it felt in DK.
Enemy spotted.
Same dude did the same thing.
On my way. Your left tower is under attack.
Curses.
Good game.
Good game.
An ally has been slain.
Enemy missing right. Cancel that.
Your middle tower is under attack. Your right tower is under attack.
2.2.
Your left tower is under attack.
Nika's really good at hitting autos.
Tower is under attack.
That's something I've noticed a lot.
Destroyed the gold
He hits
turret.
autos very, very, very well.
Okay.
I am not like that. I feel like I need to warm up when I play ADCs. I can't fucking hit autos for shit.
An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain. Your team has destroyed a left enemy tower.
Completed.
Your middle tower is under attack.
I wanna back for this shit. Yeah, solo is certainly a lane where a lot of shit happens. Quite a lot, actually. I think Solo in Smite 2 has been the most fun role, to be fair, just on paper. It's been the most versatile role by a long shot. Like, it goes from literally any god in Solo. I think the only thing that hasn't fully been meta has been ADC specifically, but like in ranked you can still do that. That was the proxy meta where you could just run Izanami. Like it was Solo has been very, very cool in Smite 2.
The pirate an ally has been slain.
Hi.
An ally has been slain. Your middle tower is under attack.
I don't think we should surrender this. Not yet.
Your
Okay,
left
dude.
tower is under attack. Your middle tower is under attack. Your right tower is under attack.
Dude, get one of them, please. Kill them.
They will not
Kill them.
not again.
Dude, there's no way, man. There's no way we aren't getting one of them.
Okay. Okay. Please.
Get one, please, team, please. Oh, they're cooked.
An ally has been slain. Your middle tower is under attack.
Dude, the Uluru slow is fucking crazy too. Is Ra support? What is he? Oh, dude.
Yes.
He has... Ra, why do you have aspect as mid?
Slain. Your
I
middle
was wondering why he did
tower is
0
under
damage.
attack. Your right
He
tower
doesn't
is
scale.
under attack.
Also, I guess I'm not tank anymore, because who the fuck just did so much damage to me?
Enemy has been slain.
Achilles, I see.
Ultimate is ready.
Your right tower is under attack.
Excuse me. Thank you. Yeah, didn't get anything, but that was also help from the tower. While they did get low, it doesn't really matter. Like, if they don't die, it is completely irrelevant, you know?
I will be your shield.
Oh, that was a bad wall.
Enemy missing. Go bananas, man.
Dude, what is a Ra up to?
Okay.
It's time. We ain't winning this one. Yeah, it's over.
Slain. Deicide. Yes. Yes.
It's time to end it. Also, I'm not gonna lie, this feels really, really unfair in terms of SR. There is no way this game is even.
Your left tower has
Like, Nika is by far... I was top picked on my team, by the way, and there is like 1,000 SR between me and Nika. So that already is very unbalanced, but... I would imagine my team should be more evened out, but that is clearly not the case. I don't know... What is up with that? Nothing like unusual, right? Like Smite. No. Smite matchmaking being bad again. What a surprise. But still. To recognize all your teammates from Smite 1? Really?
Your right tower.
Like, I recognize, obviously, Ed. Ed is a friend. And I've seen Revolution a lot. Around in Smite 2.
Completed. Quiet.
Okay, it's still up. Heard the sound effects.
An ally has been slain.
Oh, they're all getting kind of low.
An enemy has been slain. Your middle tower is under attack.
Well, not all.
An ally has been slain.
Where did Thor go? And I tried to hit both and I hit none. That's great. Dude, where the fuck did Thor go? That's so weird. Cupid should have been free. My ult gives vision to my teammates, so he should have known how low he was too.
Okay.
Dude, Uller is so far ahead of me too now. Being against Nika does make this a lot harder, because I can't really carry my lane. I think at best, it's just going to be a stalemate. Maybe I'll get one kill, like I did in this one, but I mean, that doesn't really win me the game. Granted, I'm also playing Mordred. Not the easiest god to carry with in ranked, to be honest. You have to get really fed on Mordred to carry.
The enemy team has destroyed the Gold Fury. An enemy has been slain.
Attack Fire Giant!
No.
Face me. Prepare to attack.
No. Your left tower is under attack.
I thought it was Achilles, because it's fucking golden, glowing.
Your left tower has been destroyed. An enemy has been slain.
This battle.
Your left Phoenix is under attack. Your team has destroyed the Pyromancer.
Don't know why I took that, honestly. I'll just back.
Behind us. Retreat! Retreat!
It's not a good fight when we just poked anymore. Like, just like right there. If you want to fight, I think that's fine. But like, my teammates, this often happens. If you want to fight, that's fine. Let people know you're going in. Because that wasn't a bad bots ult, but I was not ready to follow up on that. I was trying to retreat.
On my way.
An ally has been slain. Help right lane. Cancel that. Your right
I don't want to go in.
under attack. An ally has been slain. Your middle tower is under attack. Your right tower is under attack.
You can't run.
Uh,
Your middle phoenix is under attack.
I'm so sad we're just letting this one go, man. We're so close to having the perfect fight. I'm not really sure what we could do about this, to be honest. Maybe teams should voice chat. Yeah, I mean, people are shy, you know. Some people don't even want to talk, some people have turned off. It's always hard to really tell. I don't think there is a way to tell if people have turned off their voice chat, so. And I mean, a lot of people can be very toxic, so I think a lot of people turn it off as a result of that. Like, if I hear someone being super toxic, you know, I will just mute them too. But I think some people just inherently just really shy and aren't in the mood to even have it on. And I kind of get that. I could be like that too in some stuff. Or in some other games, I guess. And Smite is different for me because I know what's happening. But like, I turn off voice chat in every game. I don't want to listen to it.
Enemies at the fire giant.
Completed. The enemy team has destroyed the fire giant.
Enemies in right lane.
Your right tower is under attack. Your right tower has been destroyed.
Right lane. Help! Help!
Your right phoenix is under attack. An enemy has been slain.
Dude, my old Smite instinct of keep him in combat so he can't blink just kicked in on the Achilles. This is really not a great fight anymore. After he daggered us.
An ally has been slain.
You can't run from your fate.
What a weird fucking fight. We just split up so fast. And I don't know what Thor ended up doing. But he's on a long ass chase.
Right phoenix is under attack.
I have reached borderline useless Mordred mode though.
Your right
It's just
phoenix
Mordred
has
late
been
game now, and I
destroyed.
don't do enough damage to kill anything, and they have such a
Your Titan is
heavy
under
damage
attack.
comp that I can't really survive if I just get CC'd, so. I can only Magi's once. Damn. We definitely have two people that really do not want to surrender. Yeah, I mean, you can definitely feel a difference if you have a full team that feels like using voice comms, for sure. Sometimes it happens in Smite 2 as well, but that's generally because I know everyone in it. And then we just kind of, you know, hang out as friends in a way. Like, we just know each other, we trust each other's gameplay, stuff like that. But, like, a random person, you can try, but, like, sometimes they're just gonna be like, no, yeah, I don't want to do that. And then that's kind of where you start, you know, diverging a bit and not trusting them and not calling anything anymore. Wicked.
Bathing the glow. Your left feet is under attack.
We need to stop opening this door. It's not good. I think they have words, guys. We didn't chase it. Alright. They went for someone else. That's fine, I guess, but that's so tragic, man. Why are we chasing the new one and then not actually going for her?
Double kill. Shut down.
Yeah, I think by not trusting, I specifically mean in situations where... Dude, he's 16-0, man. I mean more specifically in situations where people just refuse to listen. Like, you're calling something, but they're just like, I don't want to do that, I don't care, you know, stuff like that. Like, you end up in a situation where it's not just trust, it's more like they just don't really listen to you, they don't want to listen to you. The minion's not really being killed here, so... That sucks.
Defeat.
Not really sure what to do in a game like this. It's just another game where their enemy jungler just steals my blue early and I fall behind for no reason. But man, I wish Mordred was different, because I really enjoy him, but Jesus Christ, man. He's so bad early that it bothers me. Or late, I should say. Yeah, I mean, Aspect Ra was only gonna get worse and worse. Early game he still does like decent damage, but once you're full late game with a full mage build, like what? Like his abilities don't scale. They only do base damage, so it's just gonna be useless going into late game. But he didn't do it on purpose. Like, he did mention that. I mean, that's not really something I'm gonna get mad at him for. I can be like, yeah, you should have changed it, but he just said that it was autoed. It's just auto on. And I believe it's auto on because you press it here. If this is turned on, it will be on when you get into a game. So he just shouldn't have that on, I guess. Which reminds me, I need to take it off on Vulcan, because it's annoying every time I play Vulcan in a casual game. Yeah, I do think bots did have to babysit Ra a bit early, but still. I'm not expecting my jungler to just like be in my lane at all times. It's more like, if you think the enemy jungler is invading, either get something for it or come and defend it with me. On Mordred it's not the worst though. Like, losing blue on Mordred isn't really gonna make the biggest difference. Excuse me, the biggest difference. It's just... It sucks losing the XP. You need that blue buff XP so badly early on. Like, one level is gonna be a huge difference. If I'm Hades into, like, let's say just Chuck, like, if his 1 is rank 4 and my 3 is rank 3, I can't fight him. I almost cannot fight him. Though that's kind of a bad example, I think, but... He could have given up on mid, but you know, it's easy to know what you should have done after the fact. So, I don't want to blame him for anything like that. And it's not like I played perfect this game either. I could have fallen back earlier. Like, the early Achilles gank again. Like, I was baited by bots there, but it's you can't like predict, I guess, unless you have words, when someone is going to counter gank. It was just unfortunate timing that Achilles was suddenly behind me when we were trying to gank the Uller. And I mean, playing Mordred into the comp they had was not fun. Though it would have been, like, it's just Nuwa, I think, actually, when I think about it. Dude, Nuwa as any melee character with low mobility is the fucking worst shit to deal with. I hate dealing with Nuwa in cases like that. But yeah, I also think we just had a shit comp. We didn't have an actual ADC, we had Neath, ability-based Neath. Like, raw mid aspect is also just super weird, intended or not. And like, Mordred is generally kind of bad. We rely on me or Thor for initiating, and we both have half global ultimates that can be spotted pretty easily. Overall, I think our combo is just terrible. Well, there's also boss initiation, which is the best option we have, but... Either way. Like, this comp is not gonna kill... Like, who the fuck is gonna kill the Achilles? Like, no one. We can't kill him. The best thing into frontliners at the moment is by far ADCs. Like, you need an actual ADC to kill them, with Kins and, like, Xe and all that shit. That is the best way. If you don't have that, you're just automatically on the back foot. I cannot wait for Apollo to come out so I can play him in solo. It's gonna make my life so much more fun. Also a lot more annoying, because I will be meeting him too, probably. Yeah, split push Apollo. People will definitely do that. It's not my favorite thing to do. I kind of hate split pushing metas, but having the option to do it on Apollo is nice. But I'm not looking forward to the people that will exclusively do that. That are just picking it to split push, because I don't really do that. I don't pick it for that reason. I just think he's fun to play. I would like to brawl, realistically. I would like to win my lane, kill my opponents. And ult over for rotation power. I don't want to split push if I can avoid it. I think it's boring. But it is a good strategy. Can't deny that. My team hated me. Yeah, it was... I think everyone kind of hates split pushing in general, to be honest. It's just an annoying thing to deal with, and... like, for your own team, there is that if you lose the fight while you're split pushing, they will blame you. Every time. Guys, I'm pushing right, be careful. They all die, and they're like, what? Where are you? What are you doing? I told you guys, I'm split pushing. I do think for my last game I need to play something different. No more frontliners. I'm done with that shit. Wait, I missed the queue? Interesting. How did I miss the queue? I just wanted to look to see if Nika also got queue pop. But he's already in the game, so I missed the fucking queue by 5 minutes. I mean, in a way it's nice, so I don't have to deal with, you know, one of the best players in the region at the moment. But I still think that's nice. Like, I want to be against good players. And I could clearly feel today how long ago it's been. On top of me having kind of a bad day in terms of decision making and skill. But I still want to meet the best I can to improve. Yeah, old Loki was the worst for that stuff. Like, split pushing old Loki was really just boring to deal with. It was just really, there's just no counterplay to it either. I think that's the main issue. I think with Apollo there is some kind of, you know, like Kronos and Apollo, there is, you know, killing them and just defending, I guess, is that counterplay. With Loki, he could so easily get away. And Apollo is, I guess, kind of bad in that sense as well, because he will just, you know, ult over and rotate and also maybe win the fight while he was split pushing and shit like that. He's definitely a menace. And I think a lot of people will hate when he comes out, to be honest. He is a frustrating god to deal with. And he will probably be broken, I wouldn't be surprised. I feel like anything you add to his kit is going to be really, really good. Because he just has a really, really solid kit. If you add anything to it, it's going to be even better. What do I pick, though? I wanted to pick something and I forgot what it is now. I'll do Kukulkan. It's been a while. I haven't done any solo Kukulkan in a little bit. But I'm feeling it in this one. He's radiant for a reason. And I really need a win. How did I get baby gamed? I don't understand. I'm still thinking about it. Any other gods you've been looking for, just misplaying? Vamana is the main one. Anyone who really knows my history, I guess. Like, it's Vamana. Like, Vamana and Apollo are the main two. Like, in terms of favorites. But obviously I'm looking forward to just new gods in general. Or new old gods. Like, I'm looking forward to some Wukong as well. I like Wukong, but he's kind of in the same vein as Chuck. While I do enjoy him, I don't want to play him every game. Cerberus is someone I'm very much looking forward to as well, and he's coming very soon, so that's nice. So that's a few. Like Clio, however you say her name, Cleodna or whatever. That's also something I'm looking forward to. She was a fun god, and I only very recently in my last Smite year, I guess, season 11, when I started playing again, I started liking her. And because the Smite 2 was coming out, I didn't really play her that much, so I do want to play more of her. They do have bots, but this smells like an Aegis game to me. I don't think I can allow myself to do that though. Yeah, because if bots knows I don't have beads, he will sit on my ass till the end of time. I don't know his name though, I do not recognize it, but just in case. At least I'm against Anubis, but while I am saying that, I don't think it's great that I am, because this is a terrible matchup for Kukulkan. But it still could be worse. Like I could be against like Hercules or something like Achilles, something like that. That'd be way worse.
Minions have spawned.
I don't know. He's just sitting in that bush. I'll get level 2 before I do my blue buff. Some weird knocking sounds happening. The dog doesn't like it. Trying to listen as well if there's something I should be worried about.
Enemy missing right.
Don't know why we're pausing, but
An ally has left the game.
yeah, maybe I do. No. He could also just be a little asshole, just to get my attention, because he's hungry. That is also a very real possibility. Playing KUKU solo? Yes. Yes, I am. No! I need the XP for this asshole. Oh, thank God.
An ally has returned.
Oh, I didn't even realize Saul was AFK. That's tragic.
Your middle tower is under attack.
Guess he was the one who needed to pause. Mages are balanced. I mean, it's just because he's not good solo, don't get me wrong. I just did it because I was tired of playing other things. That's literally the only reason.
You have slain an enemy. I will still haunt your thoughts.
No, my 2 just came up. Isn't it gotta be hard to deal with people ganking you? It will be, if I am that deep. If I'm as deep as this, then it will be. But just in lane as Kukulkan, it won't be. Into Anubis as well. It all really depends on what position you're in. Like, as any mage, yeah, I mean, getting ganked isn't really something they generally excel at, but if I am in position to just nado myself and dash out, I'll be fine. But yeah, classic jungler showed up. Absolute nonsense.
Enemy ultimate. Thanks.
There we go. Thank you, jungler.
Your middle tower is under attack.
That's what I like to see. Yeah, Poseidon jungle as well. I mean, this is definitely one of those, like... So, are mages just broken, or what's happening here? I think everyone just felt like playing mages. That's it. End of discussion. This does make it seem like mages are broken, because they also have 2 mages. As well as...
An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain.
I'm gonna stick around.
No more tricks from the
Down.
I'm probably dead. Eventually. Fucking Anubis has 0 cooldowns, so... That's the issue there. Fucking Anubis just... Ugh, man. Dude. I hate Anubis' cooldowns. That's why he's so broken. I can't believe they still haven't fixed his low cooldown on the one. He's literally running around with fucking... I don't know. What even is the base cooldown? Like 8 seconds or some shit? It's fucking insane. It's not 8 seconds, but it's something like that. Super crazy.
Your right tower is under attack.
Mages are very good late game for sure. I still think ADCs are the most broken thing at the moment though.
Ally has been slain.
Well, mages are also OP. The only thing that isn't OP is tanks.
Has been
That's it.
slain.
Enemy missing right.
Some other time.
Your middle tower is under attack. An enemy has been slain.
Anubis. So much fun, man. He's just so good at all stages, man. Is he going Divine Ruin? What the hell is he building?
Tower is under attack.
To what? Stop. I'm not sure what it is who's knocking at this time, but some people are knocking somewhere. And the dog
Your
hates it.
middle tower is under attack. Enemy careful battle.
Enemy missing.
Killing spree.
surprised that missed. We're reaching the point where this matchup just isn't going to be good for me anymore. Like, early on it's fine because I can clear against him. But now we've reached the point where he's going to heal too much for me to deal with him, on top of just having a much easier way of dealing with me. I can't really get away from him if he hits the wrap. But I am just going to get anti-healing straight away, because it's only going to get worse. Kinda sucks because it delays my poly.
You're stellar.
Oh, you're on my way.
Enemy missing right.
Shut down! Damn it! Your left tower is under attack.
He's gonna proxy again? He might. I couldn't see him over the wall. He was too fucking small.
Waste time to my will.
Should it be warding now, I guess. Otherwise that's just gonna happen every time. It's very easy for Anubis to just... There's a reason why he's also kind of works as jungler. He's very good at ganking.
Has been slain. Your right tower is under attack.
It's kind of a random ult.
Your middle tower is under attack.
Lost my tower for that one death. That's so annoying.
Under attack. Your middle tower is under attack. Going down.
Dude, man. I walled myself off basically by standing where I did. And I really need Divine. I should have waited for Divine Ruin. I'm just fighting right now when I shouldn't be fucking fighting. I'm sad.
Your middle tower is under attack.
Should be dead Bacchus at least.
An enemy has been slain. Your left tower is under attack.
Time to chill. Chill my ass. He also just has Aegis. He just Aegis my ult every time. That's also a big thing. Right here is why I really wanted that Aegis. Because he has a clear advantage in this matchup because he just Aegis my ult and I can't do the same because I need beats for bots. Who hasn't been here since
Stellar.
forever.
Free.
Enemy missing right. Storm strikes.
up.
I thought Poseidon was coming.
Your middle tower is under attack. Attack right. An ally has been slain. Your middle tower is under attack.
Big plug.
Your middle tower has been destroyed.
Dude, no way! Fucking hit that. And I didn't get the kill either, man. How the fuck did he get his 2 off mid-air? What the fuck?
Your middle tower is under attack.
Oh, she missed.
An ally has been slain. An ally has been slain.
And Sol got soloed. Rough. How did Subak not execute a noob? I have no idea, man. I actually don't know. That's a good question. I mean, bad game to pick a Kulkan, I guess. Like, we have too many fucking mages.
Your middle tower is under attack. Defend the gold fury.
Quiet, will ya? Thanks.
I'll gank right lane.
Time for the big reveal.
An enemy has been slain.
Probably.
Enemy missing right. Be careful middle. Be careful middle. Enemy missing right.
An ally has been slain.
I cannot call it any more than I just did, boys. It was the most obvious rotation in history.
Retreat left lane.
Be careful left. Defend the fire. Defend the gold fury.
Slain an enemy. An ally has left the game. Going somewhere. An ally has
Run!
unstoppable. Attack. An enemy has been slain.
Behind us. Lost the tail. Serpent swiftness.
You move well.
Unfortunate. I'll just get rot now, I guess. 6 snipe, thank you. I do feel like a mix of today has been, you play like shit and do really weird shit, but the few really nice plays I've had, there wasn't a kill getting out of it, because that was just me, I guess, surviving, but then kind of outplaying a bit. But we just weren't able to get a kill out of it. Happened a lot in that Mordred game.
An ally has been slain.
Me and Bib's fights are always kind of fun. Like I like dealing with Bib in Smite 2 much more than Smite 1, because in Smite 1 he was just really... Like, he left lane once he started losing it, and then he would just not ever be in my lane anymore. I just shit on my teammates instead.
Enemy missing left.
But we have some fun fights when I'm against him in solo these days, I feel like.
Attack! 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 Oh, you rock my world.
An ally has been slain.
Serpent swiftness.
Your middle tower is under attack.
I'm not hitting anything.
Your middle tower is under attack. An ally has been slain.
Unfortunate. Didn't do it soon enough.
Retreat. Enemies
Be careful.
incoming.
Run. Enemy missing.
Down. Perfection.
Come swiftly.
That was close. It's kind of fun with... I think the main reason why I love KUKU in Smite 2 so much more than Smite 1 is because of the change to the 2. So in exchanges like that, I can just auto-cancel with Poly, and that's so much fun. It just feels great in that way.
Have fun.
On my way.
Enemy team has
Good Soul Reaver.
destroyed
I won't have any direct pen in my build, but...
Silence.
Stop the pegging, man. I'm getting a headache.
The
Yeah, I know Bib too well too. Like, I know... Like, why do you think I place a ward here? It's because I know he's gonna turn around and look for me.
Ward here.
Like, zero disrespect to Bib, but he does a very predictable playstyle. Because he always plays the same way, and it works really well on the people that don't know it. It worked really well on me in the
Your
beginning.
team has destroyed a
And sometimes it
left
still
enemy
does.
tower.
I never expect it.
Enemy missing
Well,
right.
I oftentimes don't expect it. Sometimes I do, like there. And then it just works to his... very much to his disadvantage.
Shut down.
You have anything, Sol? Yeah?
Enemy ultimate down.
It's a bit close. Both me and Sol kind of fucked up there, to be honest.
Down.
missing too much shit here. Like, because from what I was saying before too, I play very paranoid into Bib, because I just expect him to be at every corner. But if you expect them to be at every corner, eventually they are going to be, and then you're expecting it.
An ally has been slain.
Slow down.
An enemy has been slain.
Right. Cancel that.
Your team has destroyed a middle enemy tower.
On my way.
Killing spree.
That's really not good. Could definitely just go fire.
An ally has been slain.
I'm ass. They completely stopped damaging it. It went down so fast, and then it didn't. I should have waited. I should have waited. I got too greedy for that. I played that exchange really badly. We definitely still defend. Like, we have KUKU and Sol. Like, our defending on Phoenixes should be really good, but we're probably gonna lose a Phoenix here for us being dead.
Your middle phoenix is
I mean, timing is definitely different, but that's also just partly because the objective, like health and protection and stuff like that, is different. You know, it's not the same fire giant.
Your middle phoenix has been destroyed. An ally has been slain. Your left tower is under attack.
Okay, dudes. Just use everything on me, man. Fuck. I think she's dead. That's good.
Your left phoenix is under attack.
Dude, such a bib thing. Press W, then somehow almost killed someone anyway. I'm dying too much this game too. I knew. Bots all this up again before I even fucking spawned, man.
Killing spree.
That is just classic. now I just need to stay safe. Yeah, one tornado is like 50% of someone's, like a squishy's health now.
The enemy team has destroyed the Gold Fury.
We need wards. Storm strikes.
Enemy ultimate down!
Be right back. Be right back. Right back. Swiftness. Be careful.
Group up!
On my way.
Be careful!
Enemy
The
ultimate
enemy team
down.
has destroyed the pyramids.
I'm being too greedy for just poke, I guess. Losing my beats in there is so bad.
Defend middle lane!
Gang.
Be careful in the jungle! Careful in the jungle!
Yes. Be careful.
There's a high chance they have a ward on us.
Follow me. Follow me. Enemy spotted. Enemy down.
Be right back!
On my No.
Yes! An unfortunate misstep. We need wards!
Yes.
We need wards!
It's time to mine!
Oh, they got damn Warhorn. Shit. It's too focused on what we were trying to do.
Serpent swiftness. Set up an ambush here.
Enemy spotted!
We need wards. Set up an ambush here.
Double kill.
Complete!
Your left
Is that fucking tank Vulcan?
Serpent swiftness.
It's not. I feel like it did no damage to him.
Your right tower is under attack. The pyro
Serpent
has arrived. Your left phoenix is under attack.
Just dying fast. And that shit's also dying really fast.
The enemy team has destroyed the fire giant.
Serpent swiftness.
Killing Your right tower is under attack.
Serpent swiftness.
I'm sad I didn't get with the bots in that fight.
Your right tower is under
Yeah, just jump up pretty fucking soon again. Didn't he jump to me? Then I autoed him like once or some shit like that? And then he actually got enough cooldown to jump away again? Before my 1 was even up.
The
Hello,
enemy
Goblin.
team has destroyed the Gold Fury.
I really want to win this game, man. I really want to win this game. I completely forgot I did not have beats up. Good shit from my team, though. That was really good.
An enemy has been slain. Your middle phoenix is under attack. An enemy has been slain.
Attack middle tower. Attack middle lane. I'll attack left lane.
We should be able to get a Phoenix.
Attack the Titan.
We can end, but we need to get at least a Phoenix.
On my way.
Not another one of these. There you go. Well done. I didn't think we could end, honestly.
Victory.
But alright. I think about used Pendulum Blade. That's true, yeah, I probably did. That would make sense why it was such a low cooldown. Alright, thank God. Alright, I do have a slight headache and I need to walk my dog, so I actually want to play more. I'm glad my servers are working as intended again. Like, no bad, terrible ping, and it's actually playable. As I said earlier, the only excuse I now have is that I'm bad. Which has been the case today, holy shit. I've had so many bad games today. But, either way, thank you guys so much for watching, I really appreciate it, and I will see you guys